All right, everyone, welcome to Rachel's Leadership Lounge. This is a space for real conversations about leadership, about growth, and about identity. And we don't have all the polish or the performative stuff here. This is literally just honest dialogue with people who are doing meaningful work in the world. And today I am joined by one of those people. This is David Heaps. He is founder and executive coach, former COO, and someone whose work actually centers on the word he calls leadering, which I will go into that here in a minute. Right? But David works with founders and CEOs at real inflection points in their careers when the old way of leading no longer works anymore and more effort doesn't fix it either. His focus isn't surface strategy. He likes to go inside the internal architecture of driving decisions. That's beliefs, assumptions, emotional patterns. This is the work that he truly does. And he's got quite a bit of operational experience and more than a decade of intensive inner practice of himself. And one of the things I love about David is his work is very direct. And he's a very direct person you're about to see. And he's very steady and truth tested as well. So I love the fact that he helps leaders in this way. So everybody, please help me welcome David. David, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. That's quite an intro. Thank you.
I know that was a lot to get out. I think I need a sip of water, but you're kind of impressive, so we had to get it off.
Oh my gosh. Oh, well,
Well,
okay.
I have to start with this because I need everybody to know how you even came into my orbit. I think it's kind of an interesting story. Those who know me know I am very active on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn, and I look at leadership development content, no matter who it's coming from. And one day I'm perusing the algorithm scroll of doom, and I come across this bright orange and black logo, and the word in the lower corner says leadering, and I have never heard that word, and I love it. So I had to write you, David. I'm like, leadering, do tell. So can you share, what does leadering mean to you? How do you define it, since it kind of is your word?
Well, I'm gonna evade your question for just a second.
Oh, already.
Only because that was a really fun day for me when you landed in my DMs, kind
Yeah,
of elbowed your way into my
yeah,
like LinkedIn world,
yeah.
and it's been really a lot of fun just getting to know you. So I just want to say that. Leadering is not actually a word I came up with. I hired somebody. Uh,
Okay,
I knew what my business was, but this gentleman was helping me name it. And
okay.
I think it was like during the second round of going through possibilities, I was just running through a list of words, and it landed on me, maybe similarly to how it landed on you. I just started laughing out loud.
Yeah.
Um,
Yes.
because to me, it reminded me of adulting.
Yes.
And I was like, okay, yeah. So I kind of backed into the name or the word leadering, but essentially just to, I can be brief.
Yeah.
Uh, leader, leadering is about leading yourself before you lead others. If I could just put it in a very,
That's
you know,
beautiful.
I,
Yes, and I will admit I laughed too, because it reminds me of a different word you said. What's the one that you said instead of,
adulting,
yes, adulting. Well, it reminds me of peopling.
peopling,
Peopling.
people.
Yes, if you're an extrovert, you do a lot of peopling, right? There's a lot of peopling, and when I saw leadering, I'm like, I got to add it to my lexicon.
That
So if
must be
it's a,
why. Sorry.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say that must be why I'm not familiar with peopling because I'm quite an
I
introvert.
I know you are. I know you are. So I read leadering and think peopling. You read leadering and think adulting. Either way, this great word has brought you to this screen. So I am
Yeah.
so glad that you are here. It's something that makes me laugh. I mean, you never know how you're going to meet people on LinkedIn, and leadering is how we met everyone. So there you go. And I want David here to share with you all some of the things that he sees when it comes to CEOs, C suite, coaching, some of the things that you don't really hear about normally. Because one of the things that we connected on, David, is I coach CEOs sort of in the enterprise, Fortune 500, Fortune 200, global landscape, but you're more of private and startup. So I would love to just get your thoughts on what are some of the common themes you see in CEOs that are struggling in their roles a little bit in the startup or private space?
Yeah, not some I do work with some startups, but, I would say mainly the people that are attracted to what I do tend to be, founders, founder
Mhm.
operators, CEOs,
Yeah.
not humongous, organizations. They have anywhere from 50 to, 200 employees,
Okay.
and it's interesting because what I have been seeing since the beginning of my coaching, it kinda is this it remains the same thing, essentially,
Okay.
in that I find, these really capable, really intelligent, really, just really smart people, and what always surprises me, though it doesn't surprise me so much anymore, but it really surprised me at the beginning, is how frequently these really smart, capable people are hiding from their companies, from their employees. And that just spreads out and causes problems all over the organization. And because the organizations are small enough, the feedback comes back to them much, much more quickly.
Mhm.
Whereas I think leaders in larger organizations tend to be a bit more insulated from that in different ways. So I think that's why my work tends to connect with people who are running smaller organizations and they're more directly involved with the day to day.
I see. So in the smaller orgs, you can run, but you can't hide. The feedback is going to find you because it's a smaller, you know what I mean? But because in the large groups or the large organizations that I consult with or coach with, they have the opposite problem, David. They are wanting candor, wanting feedback, but everybody's too scared to give it to them. Everybody's very performative for them. It's hard to get truth or honesty or transparency. And that's frustrating, where it's the opposite in your world, in these founders' worlds.
Well, that also compounds the problem because people are also afraid to, of course, your livelihood is in this person's hands. So your incentive to stick your neck out and say something that this person might not like isn't strong for most people.
Right.
So they really do find themselves, yes, in a very intense series of feedback loops,
Yeah.
but also they're very isolated in many ways.
Hmm.
Uh, and even though the feedback is more direct and maybe even felt more acutely, they have all kinds of strategies of kind of avoiding and doubling down in different ways and not dealing directly with because they don't even see what's actually causing it to begin with. And so that's where I come in to kind of help them start to untangle and pick that apart.
Interesting. I'm picking up on the word isolation. We've said it a couple of times already, and it's only been 8 minutes. I I can definitely attest to C-suite isolation just in some of the coaching I've done with different executives over the years. But let me hear from you what type of isolation, because people don't understand, David, that it is lonely at the top. That we say that, but like I would love for you to share what that isolation truly looks like for some of the people that you've coached. And you don't have to be specific with a specific person, but like, what does their world look like when you say isolation? What do you mean?
Well, it can be a little different for different leaders, but I'm thinking of one that I just talked to yesterday because it's just top of mind.
Yeah.
He's kind of brilliant. Nobody, well, in his organization, I don't want to say too much, but he inherited a lot of the existing structure, and that's kind of where he's at right now. So a lot of the employees and things that are there are things he inherited. So he hasn't necessarily had a lot of time to install people that are at or above where he's at in different ways. So nobody that is with him right now can kind of hang with him.
Huh.
so
Fun.
it so for him, that's really isolating. But mainly, I think the thing that's kind of wanting to be talked about right now, the thing that's coming forward,
Yeah.
is that I find, oh gosh, I'm just running a blank. Sorry, I just lost it.
Okay. In terms
Y-
of isolation.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, can you just say a little more about isolation because I just lost the thread.
No worries. Yeah, you were sharing that. There's isolation because he inherited a bunch of existing personnel, doesn't really have anybody he can trust or hang out with. And this resonates with me because even with Fortune 5, Fortune 2, huge organizations, the same thing can happen. The changing of the guard. You're in now with a whole team of people who maybe would not have picked you or were really aligned with the older CEO or the former CEO. And
Yeah.
so no friends, no
Yeah.
friend, no
Yeah.
friend.
They really thank you. I think I just kind of caught where I was trying to pick up. Um, they really are alone in ways that are very meaningful, and that they don't. The more important part about that is they don't even see how alone they are. They
Mm,
What I find a lot of these owner operators see is just a lot of people who are unable to do the job in their minds because they were founders and they came up and the business was built around them being great at what they did. They've they they're not good at leading.
you have to say
They're
it.
not good at teaching. They're not good at
Yeah,
following up. They're not good at the very of accepting the fact that the people that they've brought in to run their business is not them.
right.
When they look out at the landscape of possibilities and what needs to be done in their business, they don't see what the leader sees. They don't think the way the leader thinks. The leader is in the position, or the owner is in the position he's in because he has a unique way of seeing the world and then acting upon the world. Most people are not that. Hence, most people are working for those people.
Right.
So that's just kind of a first step, just getting them to see that you kind of are alone in the way that you think everybody sees what you do, but they're just unwilling to get on board. No, no, they don't see what you see. They're trying to catch up. You have not communicated and expressed and brought people into your vision. And
Mm,
that is not necessarily something that most leaders are good at. Most leaders are really good at doing their thing,
yeah.
but creating the business and then creating the structure and creating all the things that support that vision, that's where they really tend to fall down. And so they avoid the different things that they're not naturally good at, and then
Mhm.
they kind of build their company around that.
And that can have consequences and ripple effects, right?
All over.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if they're and I'm thinking of these visionary creators, founders, let's say, I mean, you could think of Elon with Tesla, you could think of Steve Jobs, you could think there's all these they see the world differently and they're able to create beautiful products or services that are unique. But everybody else who works for them is not the visionary. They don't have that same visual mind or the same way they see things. So that's the isolation you're talking about. This sort of their mental and emotional isolation because of the way they view the world. Am I getting that right?
That's part of it. And then because of that, there's this incredible, I mean, you've met founders, I'm sure. They have this incredible drive. They have this incredible work ethic because they are looking at this vision and they are trying so hard to realize this vision, and they don't understand why everybody else doesn't see it and why they're not working just as hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot of frustration, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of resentment, there's a lot of, well, just stepping in where they shouldn't step in because they haven't learned how to set things up so that they don't have to do that.
Right.
Yeah.
I would love to go on a site visit. Like we need to get a GoPro camera on your head and go through a site visit with you and see what it's like coaching these founders, these CEOs behind closed doors because I'll tell you what, I don't think people really realize the emotional altitude that they're at and that coaching can sometimes get messy with these higher level senior executives. Do you agree with that?
Can get messy.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Can you say a little more about messy?
Yeah, I mean, I've had people cry on me, right? And we're not in therapy. One of the things we always talk about is the distinction between coaching, advice, and therapy, right? And so just one great probing coaching question that they have to sit with and think about that brings them to tears. Like that's an example. I don't want to say that's messy. It's honest, it's human, but not something that everybody would be expecting from a strong CEO that's leading a big company or a strong COO or CMO, it doesn't matter. But I've had that happen. Has that ever happened with you?
Yeah, almost. I mean, at least every client I have at some
Yeah.
point has
Yeah.
broken down and had to admit something to themselves that they have been avoiding and don't want to admit. And there's the doorway.
Yes, that's the that's the stuff you're comfortable with. Now for me, I get a little I've gotta brace myself for that a little bit. For example, I had a client that was upset because he very rarely gets to see his family. Quite a bit of travel, which makes sense for the level he's at, but had a daughter who was getting married, had to give the daughter away, and hadn't seen her prior to that. Just brutal leaves of absence from their true family, spouses, children, homes that they bought when they first started their careers that they never spend time in now. That kind of thing is, I think, unnoticed by the general public. I think that a CEO, a founder, they must be living the high life, but it's not really that way at all, if we're being honest. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's different for, different leaders, of course, but
Yeah.
I'm just, I met with one recently that just came to a realization about the well, they're kind of I think the way that they said it, or the realization they came to, is that they
Yeah.
were kind of enslaved to their own mind, their own thinking about what they thought the business needed from them. And they honestly, he did something recently that he hasn't done for many, many years. He took 2 weeks off, which was very, very
Unheard of.
unheard of for him, for
Oh, yeah.
sure, because he had such a tight grip on the day to day, and he took 2 full weeks, and he stayed disconnected, and I mean, that is an interruption,
Yeah.
like a major interruption in all those different processes and patterns and things that are, he's constantly looking at and trying to hold up and so forth.
Yeah.
And it was great because the conclusion that we came to by the end of the session that followed that vacation was and it was really great because this realization, I could tell, was coming from the inside, and he
Yeah.
really meant it. He understood that going forward, he needed to design his life around what felt good to him, what he wanted to be doing, what was important to him, and that he was going to allow everything else to come in around that, because he realized he was showing up angry and resentful and
Mhm.
impatient and all the things. And of course, if you're working with, well, I'll just confine my comments to working with employees. But if you're
Yeah.
showing up to your meetings with your team in all the ways I just described, you are literally injecting that and building with that material, and you're pushing that into your
Mhm.
company. And of course, that just goes into your company,
Mhm.
bounces off all kinds of things, and then comes back to you in a different form. But it's the same thing.
Mhm.
And so now he understands that by literally shaping his every day so that by the end of the day, he knows he won. I
Mm.
won. I won. I win every day. Every day I get to the end of the day, I won, I won, I won.
Yeah.
Every meeting, every interaction I go into is injecting that into my company. And then that is coming back to me. He came to this all on his own,
Wow.
just by taking that big break and allowing that 2 week interruption to kind of interrupt all those strategies that he had, all those plates spinning, yeah, that he had going before he went. So
Wow. I think that's pretty deep that a 2-week break was so out of the norm that it gave him enough silence and time to allow things to surface and to shift how he approaches his work. That's amazing. I know most of them will not take 2 weeks off. Many of mine have not had a real vacation, do not take a real vacation. That leads me to the question I was gonna ask you. I mean, what do executives need the most, but they rarely ask for? I know time off is one, but what else? What are your thoughts?
what do CEOs need
Yes,
most that they don't
but
ask for?
rarely for. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. They will not ask for help.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they think, I mean, the majority of the people that I come into, they think they have to do everything, and leaning on their team is really scary for a lot of them. But
Mm,
once they start doing that, well, then you start building a team.
right, right. But it's having to actually ask for the help, which I think a lot of things come up. Ego, pride, don't want to appear that you need the help, or just don't want to be vulnerable, that they get to say, hey, so and so asked me to help. There's a bit of protecting of their own identity, and that creates friction and a boundary where they don't want to ask for help. And that's at least what I'm seeing for a couple of the clients I coach. What do you think?
Well, I think you nailed it right on the head. That's one of the first questions I ask any leader who is up against something that they're resisting is what are you protecting?
Mm,
Because it is a protective thing. They're
yeah,
protecting some part of them. They don't want
yes,
to be seen in a particular way. They don't want to see themselves in a particular way. And getting in touch with that and saying it out loud and having somebody hear you say it can really shift your understanding of how you're being. So it's really important to have somebody to help. Well, this is something that how many people I'm jumping around a little bit, but I'm having something kinda drop in.
yeah,
Listening.
yeah,
The importance of hearing something out of another person. It's not just you talking and me passively having information go into my ears. If I'm really listening, if I'm really engaged, if I'm really curious, I know I am hearing things out of you that could not come out in any other way. I'm
yes,
literally in some way, I'm helping to pull it out of you.
yeah,
And then as I'm doing that, that person who is speaking these things, I might give them a little help as far as reflect some things back to them in
sure,
a way. And in fact, that's often the case. But just them being able to hear themselves say that thing, how often do people or how many people do you have in your life? I'll just ask you directly, who want to spend time just sitting and asking you questions and hearing what you have to say and actually saying, "Oh, I don't understand. Can you
yeah,
say more about that thing? Oh, that's interesting. Say more about that. What does that mean?" Like interested and engaged enough to really pull those things out of you. Those relationships, if we're honest, they just don't exist. They
yeah.
don't exist for most people.
No,
So, anyway, I've just said a bunch of stuff. I'm not even sure if I an
no, it lands. Absolutely, it lands. Listen, when you said how many people sit around and ask you questions literally and are interested in the answer, I was gonna be a smart ass and say, well, my kids ask me 1,000 questions. I got a toddler. She'll ask me 100,000 questions a day. But then you gave that caveat where they're actually listening, they're understanding, they're reflecting back, they're paraphrasing, summarizing. Well, then that'd be only one person, and that's my coach. I have a coach. I have shared with you, David, that I just recently got my ACC, the certification from ICF. But before I ever pursued coaching, I had a coach that I'd worked with for 6 years. And the reason I won't let her go is because she's the only person who does everything you just described. She will literally sit and listen to me without interruption and then give me pauses that drive me nuts because I can't stand the silence. And then reflect back to me and then open up even more, even further probing question or trying to double click or noticing body language. That's another one that I've noticed that she's really astute at is even the words that I'm saying may be one thing because some people are really great with their words, but their body language tells a whole nother story. Their tone of voice, what they're fidgeting with, where their eye contact goes, and she's able to pick up those nuances. And I always feel like, stop! You're seeing too much of me. Like you almost feel like they're seeing the real you. They're hearing the real you. And I love how you said that just saying it out loud sometimes, just being able to say out loud, I miss my kids. I hate what this role does to me. I don't trust the people I'm around. I don't feel that I even should be in this role just yet. saying it out loud. So those are some of the truths that may come out. Oh man, it may be the first time they've ever said it to anyone ever.
Yeah, and I can't count how many times I've had somebody say something and immediately follow that up with, "I didn't even know I thought that." That's my favorite. I didn't even know I thought that, and it just came out. Like, that is my favorite, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are, and I have to do this because I'm going to try to steal some of your techniques here. So let me get my page up. What are some of your favorite questions? It seems like you have some good questions that make the person really think and be truthful about where they are. What are some of your go-to coaching questions, David?
I'm again, I'm gonna have to answer your question in a way that's a little indirect. It's really like, okay, so I'll say this. I think I am I I'm gonna toot my own horn just a little bit.
Go ahead.
I think I am an amazing question asker,
Yeah.
not because I have formulated this amazing list of questions that I know how to deploy.
Okay.
Because, well, naturally, I'm just extremely curious, and I have for myself learned well, the way that I show up in a session, I
Yeah.
know what's expected of me to be able to really perform, I guess, is
Mhm.
the word I would use, and
Yeah.
that is for me to sort of disappear into the conversation.
Right.
And in that s state, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
I'm not pulling questions out of my mind. I'm simply responding to what I'm witnessing.
Mm-hmm.
So, all of those things that you just mentioned before, body language and, tone of voice, and so for me, this is maybe a little too much inside baseball. It's sort of like I'm in a video game
Okay.
and and I'm seeing and I'm hearing and that what they're wanting me to understand and what I'm seeing, I know is coming they're kinda coming in
Yeah.
together, and
Yeah.
then as I get closer to that, the questions just they are, and then it's just up to me to stay in that place so that I can, uh those questions get asked essentially. I'm
Yeah.
not there's no thought around it. I have no idea what I'm gonna say or what I'm gonna ask. It just all
Yeah.
happens. So, it's not a really great way to answer your question, but
Oh, it is.
I am answering your question in that
Yeah.
I don't have a stack of questions. I just respond to what I see.
Oh, that is beautiful. My teachers that coach you would be so proud of that answer.
Well,
That
thanks.
they would. That questions should come from curiosity. Two, they come from deep listening, what we call level three listening or whatever. It's beyond the words that are being said. It's the embodiment of the person saying the words. And then you're just responding. You're just responding to what you're hearing and what you're seeing is what you said. I love it. So there's no bank of questions. He doesn't have, a sticky note list of questions on his monitor when he's talking to you. It's coming from literally, it's coming from curiosity in what he's hearing from his client. Am I getting that right?
Yes, and what I s good enough, and what I will say is that a couple questions that do I find just, I mean, I'm sure I'm not telling you anything you don't know, but a couple questions that I land on maybe most frequently is the one I just shared with you previously, "What are you protecting?" And the other one, what's the one thing you are avoiding that you know you shouldn't be? I mean, that question can
Mhm.
always you're always gonna get an answer to that question, and it's always going to take you to a deeper understanding of what is preventing you from doing, being, realizing, experiencing whatever it is you're wanting to, um, be experiencing.
Nice. Okay. Well, we gave you two, everyone. He gave you what are you protecting? And then what are you avoiding that you shouldn't be? And then the rest is up to you. You're going to have to do the work just like David and I do, right? We're not giving it all away, right? We're not giving it all away.
Nothing, no.
if you know anything about this show, I have a signature question that I ask every single guest. It's in the spirit of what we were just talking about, right? That uncovers something deeper. So I'm going to ask you, Heaps, and feel free to take your time. I know you like to think through before you answer, but what is one thing that you had to let go about yourself to lead and coach at the level you do now?
Yeah. Uh, I wouldn't, I wouldn't, I wouldn't confine it only to what I do because everything is downstream of this, but
Okay.
preferences. I have to let go of preferences.
What do you mean?
Well, I had to learn that it's okay to have preferences. It's okay to want coffee as opposed to tea. It's okay to want your life and your business to go in a particular way. It's okay to want certain types of outcomes and things like that. And I've learned that you have to hold that. Let me speak for myself. I have to hold that very lightly
Hmm.
because once I've done that, that's great. I have a preference. I would like this or that to unfold in a particular way,
Yeah.
and life doesn't always do that. And you can create a lot of unnecessary I can create a lot of unnecessary suffering. I have created a lot of unnecessary suffering for myself because I had this, kung fu grip on a preference, and things were not quite unfolding the way I thought they should be unfolding, and that well, plain and simple, that just causes a lot of suffering, and you can feel stalled out, and you can feel frustrated, and I mean, all of that. So again, it's okay, but I just hold things a bit more lightly so that I can allow for, yes, I have this desire, this want, I want to go here, and life also comes in and does what life does, and so I have to sort of oscillate
Oh,
between these two with more grace.
I love it. So being less rigid on your preferences, knowing that regardless of whether we have them or not, life isn't always going to provide them. And so it's being a little more fluid, seems like a little more flexible. I
Yeah.
can, okay.
Open. Yeah, absolutely.
That'll keep you from suffering, people. Listen to the man. He says this can save you. How many of us are unduly suffering because we have preferences? I mean, I'm going to tell you, Heaps, I get mad if they don't have Splenda at the restaurant. That is that is like, "What? You only have equal? I'm out of here." Okay, I digress. Listen, we could talk to you for so much longer, but I know that we have got to be mindful of the time, and here in the lounge, we always do what we call a lightning round. Just a couple of questions that you get to answer quickly. I'm gonna say you don't get 30 seconds to think or phone a friend, but we would love to pick your brain on some things. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. There's special for you, David. And the first one is what is one word, this should be an easy one word that defines effective leadering.
One word that defines effective leadering?
Yep.
Hmm. Well, I guess, well, vulnerability is dropping in.
Oh, okay. I
Uh-huh.
like.
Because that's vulnerability is has a lot of baggage nowadays. But to me, vulnerability is making eye contact with what is true.
Ooh,
So that's where everything starts.
I like it. Vulnerability. Be vulnerable leaders. Okay. The next one. What is something that you've seen founders or CEOs overcomplicate? Yeah.
Sorry, I was laughing. I was laughing at my own inner response, which I guess
Okay.
I'll just say everything.
Everything. No problem.
I think it really goes back to what I was talking about before, that typically founders, founded and are really good at the thing and not so good at the other things, yet they don't want to let go. So just that becoming that choke point for everything else, is kind of the yeah, that's
That's
it
funny.
doesn't have to be that hard.
Yeah, they overcomplicate everything by wanting to still do everything and be everything and not delegate anything. Is that
Yeah,
fair?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, and the
Much
last
more
one.
concisely put than I did. Yeah.
Thank you. I
Mhm.
appreciate that. And
Yeah.
I have just one last one, and I promise we'll let you go here. Coaching in one sentence is what?
Mm, coaching in one sentence. I'll say what it is for me.
Okay.
It is complete. Oh yeah. It is. I give over completely to my uh, curiosity, and
Yeah.
I say it's just complete openness and letting my natural like crazy curiosity kind of lead the way. That's what it is for me.
I like it.
As far as what is that's I
I'll
can't
take that.
answer in
I'll
one
take that.
sentence.
That's a
Right?
lightning round answer. I'll take that. So coaching is curiosity.
Yeah. Well, from my perspective. So anyway,
Well, I think ICF would agree with you. Don't make me read all of the stuff they put on this little thing with the pen, but I'm sure curiosity is part of it. So I know that you have got other things to do today, but I have to tell you, thank you so much for joining me. And I'm going to make you answer on camera. Will you come back?
will you have me back? I'll answer your question with a question.
The flip, of course. Of course, we've got to share war stories. And one thing that I love about fellow coaches is we don't have the answers. We don't have the answers. We're here to help the person find their own answers, and that curiosity allows you to assist them in doing that. So I want to thank you for the time. And I am going to include how you can get in touch with David. He has his own website called leadering.com. And I'll make sure I put this in the notes and in the description for you all in case you want to reach out to him. And David, I am so glad that you joined me today. I hope this was not as painful as you thought it was going to be.
I
Uh,
didn't think it was going to be painful, but
Oh, good, good, because it's been very fun and I enjoyed having you here. And we will see you next time. And everyone, please stay tuned for our next episode of Rachel's Leadership Lounge, and we'll see you there. Bye
thank
bye.
you.
All right.